1 second, let me compose myself a little bit, okay? I'm almost ready. Borderlands 4 is gonna be amazing! Said a bunch of people with extremely low IQs. And also, Randy Pitchford is completely losing it. Now, I'm not saying that that would imply that Randy Pitchford was all there before, but now Randy has completely lost it, okay? I think the Borderlands movie completely broke that idiot. Can you guys please go watch the Borderlands movie? It's actually not that bad if when you get into it. Desperate and pathetic. That's what the Borderlands franchise has honestly become over the years. Borderlands 1 was great. Borderlands 2. Yeah, at least it was still kind of good. Borderlands 3, a mistake. Tiny Tina's loony, wacky Vogue adventures, complete disaster. And everything else, obviously, also a complete disaster. And now Borderlands 4 is bringing it back. What are they bringing back? Diversity hires? Because that's what the cast looks like. And by the way, I can't say this enough, and this time I won't show you pictures, but since Borderlands 4 got announced and we saw the cast, man, even the white guy was black. Now, as time passes, they have applied the Pedro Pascal effect to all of the characters and made them way less black. It's an absolute joke at this point. It's just a full-blown tragedy, honestly, what has happened with the Borderlands franchise.
We got ourselves an exclusive interview with Randy Pitchford from Insider Gaming. And in this interview, he decides to reveal some interesting stuff, one of which is actually in the headline of this article where they quote him, where he says, "We will break 100 million units with this launch." Randy Pitchford on Borderlands 4. So we're going to cover everything.
Even if they give away the game, not even half of those people would take the game if it was given for them.
Randy has said recently in interviews about Borderlands 4 and where he feels like he's going to sell in terms of units. And not only that, how he also feels like Pitchford, they said that Borderlands 4 is worth $200 in the mind of Randy Pitchford, the CEO. I'm sure in his mind,
Beautiful.
it's worth $200, but I don't.
Someone needs to test Randy Pitchford for like I don't know, some kind of mental deficiencies to check. Maybe he's hallucinating. Maybe he sees things that aren't there. That would explain a lot.
I don't know how players are going to feel about that, but in any case, Borderlands 4 is set to be released worldwide on September 12th, and it's the broadest and most ambitious.
I can't wait. Borderlands 4 is going to be so bad. We know the story. The story is just ass. So there's this group of people that are mind controlled, but suddenly they're not mind controlled any longer because that something crashes, and now they know that they're not the only planet out there, and they all become psychos because reasons, and the ones that don't become psychos are still kind of psychos. And what's the point of mind controlling the population if you're not actually mind controlling them? It's the story is just unbelievably stupid. Everything we know about the story so far seems unbelievably just it just feels like a couple of people got high and then they were like, dude, what if they were mind controlled and then they broke free? Yeah, dude, yeah. That's what it feels like. It feels like a caricature of a person made the story for Borderlands 4.
Iteration their Gearbox has ever created. In Borderlands 4, players are set to explore a seamless open world and be presented with more choices and options for gameplay styles than ever before. He sat down with Randy Pitchford at Gamescom to learn all about Borderlands.
We have seen the talent points for this stuff, and well, the talent points are as great as you expect. 3% more damage with weapons on a Tuesday.
4, from what it took to create to where it goes post-launch. He made a bold statement about the sale of the series and how impactful Borderlands 4 will be. So let's read everything that was said right now about this. Pitchford reflected on that and looked to the future of the series beyond Borderlands 4. He says, we're just now beginning to dig into what our post launch is, and we've got some extremely exciting plans that I cannot wait to share and talk about. We're now expert at making Borderlands.
Randy, can you share them on a flash drive you forgot in the Middle Age LARP? Can you do that?
4, and when you're making a game, you kind of figure out how to make it as you ship it.
Hey, if you understand that reference, leave it in the comments down below. If you don't, you don't. Well, good luck finding that one out. It's hilarious.
That's one of the reasons why our post launch content tends to be so good. Thinking about Borderlands beyond the game is so wild to me. I remember I came to Gamescom with Borderlands 1 just trying to scream from the tallest mountain to get anyone to pay attention to it, and nobody cared. A lot of people predicted that Borderlands wasn't going to work. Now, here we are with the game franchise. We will break 100 million units with this launch easy. All in with the franchise. Borderlands is more than 15 years old as a series. And as Pitchford explained, he spent the last 20 years of his life building it and pushing it out to the masses. With each iteration, the franchise becomes more explosive and energetic, and Borderlands 4 represents, for now, the pinnacle of the series. Now, here's the problem, okay? The problem with
the guy's just delusional. I mean, dude, tell me this does not sound absolutely delusional. He has hypnotized himself believing that Borderlands is going to succeed. I mean, take a hint from the movie, Randy. No one wants this any longer. You have ruined everything Borderlands stood for. You know when the game was fun? When sirens were just, a bunch of people who huffed a little bit too much space dust and now had magical powers. That's when Borderlands was peak. Now sirens are just gay and lame.
this is that Borderlands unfortunately has lost its, I don't know if you want to call it its charm. I don't know if you want to call it its luster. But Borderlands for a lot of people has lost its charm and has lost its luster because the last iteration especially was so successful because it was built off of the back of the one before it. A lot of people loved Borderlands 2, myself included. I think Borderlands 2 is probably the best one out of all of them so far. Borderlands 3 sold what it sold because people loved Borderlands 2 and they thought they were going to get a better game with Borderlands 3. And then Borderlands 3 comes out and they realize that it's not exactly up to snuff. It's not exactly what they thought it was going to be. And unfortunately, that now is going to lead to potentially less sales for Borderlands 4. Do I think Borderlands 4 is going to flop?
Potentially? Hell no.
Absolutely not. I've said this since.
I think Borderlands 4 has an absolutely good chance of flopping. Borderlands 3 was a disaster. It's an open I think okay, listen. I'm like 70-30 that Borderlands 4 is gonna flop. It's not gonna have enough players, it's not gonna have enough sales, and it's gonna get real desperate real fucking fast. Borderlands 4 does not do anything new. It doesn't do anything good. It does not really expand on the already existing formula, and it does not fix the weaknesses of the things that people did not like in the first games. It arguably actually makes them worse in some cases even. But, that's arguable. No one watched the Borderlands movie. It was an absolute flop. If people were interested in the Borderlands as whole, people would watch the movie. But instead, no one watched it. It was absolutely a woke fucking mess. Borderlands movie was ridiculously woke, by the way. And Borderlands 3 is unanimously acclaimed as not really a good Borderlands game. Everything after that is effectively in the same trash bin as Tiny Tina's stupid Wonderland, and no one likes that. Those were massive mistakes. Everyone knows they were massive mistakes. No one's even trying to defend this fact. And it's been too long since the last franchise. You're effectively trying to reanimate a dead franchise almost at this point. A franchise that people have more or less been fine giving up on. And you're telling us it's gonna be $100 because now $200 because it's quadruple full A quality or whatever the term for 5 is. Penta A quality, is that what it is? I don't know. People look at this and they instantaneously think, this guy's delusional. This is an absolute joke. I'd rather play World of Warcraft retail and go through that absolute disaster of a storyline at this point than actually Borderlands 4. And the obvious things that you see in Borderlands 4 don't really help. They don't. A bunch of scripted shit. Where we see the gameplay and it looks bad. Like, most of the Borderlands 4 gameplay just looks bad. A lot of the guns you get early on don't seem to be that fun, actually. And the enemy AI seems brain damaged. We're literally talking about Cyberpunk 2077 release AI quality levels of stupid here. In a lot of cases. Slightly better, but slightly better than that AI quality doesn't actually say a lot. It's still really bad. Almost everything surrounding this game is kind of negative. There's the super fanboys that are gonna be like, no, this is gonna be great, but most people ignore them. They exist, and roughly I could say there's like 20% of people watching this video are probably gonna be like super fanboys, and they're like, no, Borderlands 4 is gonna be great, blah 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 blah. That's it. That's not enough to make this work. That's not enough to make a profit. That's not enough for you to even buy a new flash flash drive so you can put things on it and leave it in a LARP.
Day one. I think the game has a big enough built-in fan base that it could see it through all the way to the end. However, I don't think it's going to sell as much or as quickly as Borderlands 3 did during its launch, because Borderlands 3 had a lot of hype from 2. A lot of hype. Like, I don't think people even realize how much hype was behind Borderlands 3 from Borderlands 2. And then when people got their hands on it, that's when the truth came out about the game, and it just didn't hit where it needed to hit. It still sold, don't get me wrong, and it still made its money, don't get me wrong, but the community sentiment around the game wasn't that great for the majority of people. There were some people that did like it, and that's okay. But for the majority of people, it really wasn't that great of a Borderlands game. Now we got Borderlands 4, and they're promising to go back to what made Borderlands great, but we don't exactly know what that means for Randy Pitchford, considering all the nonsensical things that he says in interviews. This guy says some of the dumbest shit in interviews by far. The last number suggested that the series was sitting at around 92 million units sold, which means that Gearbox is anticipating at least 8 million sales with Borderlands 4. Now, that may be very well possible. 8 million sales over, maybe the first year or two is definitely possible. Borderlands 3 sold millions of copies.
I mean, it is possible, but 100 billion sales is also technically possible.
Copies within the first month, so I'm sure it could probably do something similar. I just don't think it's going to do as much as quickly as Borderlands 3. So now let's talk about a separate article going over what Randy Pitchford said about the price of Borderlands 4 and what he feels like the game is worth. I guess $70 is an okay compromise between free or $200. Gearbox boss Randy Pitchford ruffled some feathers recently with a comment that a real fan would pay $80 to play Borderlands 4 if it happened to cost that much, and then somehow unruffled those feathers with the reveal.
Yeah, a real fan would sell his lungs and stuff.
That it won't cost that much. Borderlands 4 will be $70, like most other games from big publishers right now. Speaking to Games Radar, Pitchford said that now $200 would be a fair price for Borderlands 4, but that he wishes he would.
Wait a minute. I hate this. When he says it's gonna be $70, it's actually $80. Because it's gonna be $79.99. That's $80. Shut up. I don't want to hear any of you fucking losers tell me that, oh, $79.99 is not actually $80. It's actually $70. No, it's $80. It's $80. Stop lying.
Now, come on, guys. Does anybody sincerely believe that Randy Pitchford, the CEO, thinks that Borderlands 4 should be free? Does anybody sincerely believe that? I don't believe that for a second. I'm sure you guys are probably rolling your eyes right now watching this video. Like, did he really say that? I don't understand why he says these things, because nobody's laughing, bro. Nobody is legitimately laughing at any of the jokes or anything Randy Pitchford says. And he says some of the dumbest shit in the world. And this is one of them, right? But in any case, according to Randy Pitchford, he believes that it's worth $200. He says, shit, I think they could charge $200 for this game. Pitchford said, I wish they give it away because then everyone would play it. That's not how the business works, but the value is there. This recurring theme in a game pricing debate goes back for as long as I can remember. A video game may cost more than a movie, but a movie only lasts a couple of hours, while you can easily spend 100 hours or more playing a big game. You look at all the past Borderlands games, we have people that spend thousands of hours in the Borderlands. Pitchford said, if you think that about the terms of the most amount that could have ever been spent versus the time of entertainment, you can't find a better value in the world for any kind of entertainment. I agree with that. And this is why gaming is the #1 entertainment.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you can spend a lot of time in a game. It doesn't mean that you're that. I don't know if there's a couple of games that I have spent like 5k hours in, 3k hours in, and so on. If someone told me, okay, now you have to spend $200 on this, I would be like, okay, I'll just find something else, thank you. That's what I would do. Even if I would like the games, I would never pay $200 for some, except GTA 6, obviously.
Medium in the world. That is true. And there's a reason why that is the case, because there is a lot of value sentiment that you could get from buying one singular video game as long as you know what you're buying. You could end up buying Oblivion Remastered and spend thousands of hours in that one game. Right? You could buy Skyrim and spend thousands of hours in that game. You just could do that. You could buy The Witcher 3 and spend thousands of hours in that game. That's kind of just how it goes. There's some merit to the argument. When I've been strapped for cash, I've definitely favored big RPGs that I could chew on for months. And an astronomical amount of work does go into a game like Borderlands 4. But as Pitchford acknowledges,
Bro, what the Randy Pitchford is ancient. What do you mean when you were strapped for cash? 50 fucking years ago? Dude, I can't.
the argument only goes so far. I wouldn't pay $70 for an audiobook version of a so-so novel just because it's long or because you told me that the author spent 10 years writing it. I'll take the shorter, better novel, please. And I agree with that. It all depends on the entertainment medium. And with video games, they're interactive, right? With a book, you're just reading the story and experiencing it and using your imagination.
True, but I mean, it's over. Randy has no future. Anyway, that was Hypnotic, 10 out of 10. Bye.